What is up, guys? Welcome to Rick Renegade's Metal Collection, and this is episode 11 of Shuffle of Death. And, like usual, we got some good ones. Some better than others, but, let's get started. And by the way, it's a nice, dreary day today. It's just been raining, it seems like, for the past, 3 days now, so I don't know. Bear with me. Let's see. So the first thing we got on our list is not one of the best things of all time. We got Motley Crue Girls, Girls, Girls. And this is my kind of trashy version. I actually have the Motley Crue box set that has the first 5 albums in it. But I just brought this because, well, I don't care. It's just Girls, 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 right? So this came out in 87. Gets a 65% on Metal Archives. And that's pretty low, and it's pretty fair, I think. And this is the 4th Motley Crue album. So, okay, I'll say I am a big fan of the first 2 Motley Crue albums. And believe it or not, I don't think Theater of Pain is that bad. Some people really don't like it, but I don't think it's that bad. But this was the first album where I just kind of thought was very, very lackluster, in my opinion. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Okay, we start off with Wild Side. Honestly, that's a great song. Probably one of the best Motley Crue songs, period. And then it goes into Girls, 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 which, you know, for what it is, it's not a bad song. That main riff is pretty cool. It's, I don't know, it ain't bad. But it's very, very glam for sure, so. And then it just kind of starts going mediocre after that. Like, Dancing on Glass is okay, just okay. Bad Boy Boogie is just okay. Nona is just kind of annoying, which is just like a little interlude. 5 Years Dead is just kind of okay. Like, it, I mean, none of the songs really, after the first 2 tracks, are really awful. They're just not great. They're just average. You know, they're not as hard and heavy as, like, Shout At the Devil. And, I still think Theater of Pain feels heavier than this, so take that what you will. But, you know, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it... 65 is probably fair. That or 70 at the most. I mean, it's just okay. It's one of my least listened to be honest, I don't think I've ever listened to the whole thing all the way through in one sitting, except for before I did this video. I mean, I've listened to probably every track at least once, but all the way through, I just can't get through it usually. But yeah, there's that. Not the greatest start, but hey. Now we're getting into good territory again. Armored Saint, Raising Fear. Yeah, this is of course, Armored Saint is a pretty solid band. Their first 4 albums back in the day were all solid. So this one came out in 87. Gets an 86% on Metal Archives. It's kind of fair, I guess. That ain't a bad score. And this is their 3rd album. Now, one thing I will say about Armored Saint. I think March of the Saint is their best, and I never felt like they quite reached that on their next 3 albums. But I think their next 3 albums are very, very good. I kind of put it in the same category as, like, Van Halen, for instance. The first Van Halen album did everything just perfectly. And then you got, like, the rest of the albums, while, you know, the next few albums were really good, they really didn't match the debut to me. So it's like we got March of the Saint is like the first Van Halen album, and then, like, albums like this is kind of like Women and Children First or Fair Warning. So basically all solid, you know, just solid stuff. So yeah, every track on this is good. It's just good, hard, heavy, Armored Saint. Really not much I could say. John Bush is awesome as usual on here. And hey, give it a shot. Every track is good. Next, continuing with some more greatness, Riot. This is Fire Down Under. And this came out in 81. Gets a 90% on Metal Archives, which, I mean, that's not a bad score, but I would probably give it more like a 95. This is just a solid album. and this is their third album. So Riot, okay, because they kind of started off as in the '70s as kind of a hard rock, heavy metal band. And they kind of progressively got heavier, and this album still kind of has a lot of hard rock vibes to it, but then it really starts developing some of those heavy metal, sounds. Little harder, a little heavier. Even like their '70s albums had moments that were kind of ahead of their time. I mean, like Narita, like that track off the previous album was pretty much like almost early speed metal. Like they were doing some really cool stuff. And the song Warrior off the debut was pretty much like almost like some early speed metal for its time. You know what I mean? Speed metal, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of more of a faster pace, heavy stuff. But this album, you got like Swords and Tequila. It's kind of like a hard rockin' tune, but so good. Fire Down Under kind of picks up the pace, gets a little more on the metal side. Feel the Same's like a good, just a slower hard rock track. Outlaw, but it just kind of goes back and forth with that. Really, it's just kind of like good like hard and heavy rock and metal all around. But the choruses, the songwriting is so good. I love the vocals, the guitar, the production. It's just all so solid. And always got to give a little shout out to, I guess we call him Johnny, the mascot, a seal head on a man's body for whatever reason. But we got to love Johnny. So it's just kind of funny because the music doesn't really entirely reflect that album cover. But hey, you know what? It's good music. So listen to Johnny and try out Fire Down Under. Next, we got Wizzard. I still got my sticker on there I got from Half Price Books. I don't know why I don't just take the things off, but this is Wizzard Thor is the name of the album. Yeah, so creative, right? Wizzard Thor. But I will say this: this band and their music is a lot better than it probably suggests. So this came out in '09. This is a German power metal band. 88% on Metal Archives, which I don't think's fair. And this is their 8th album. So, okay, so my experience with Wizzard, this was the first album I bought. And actually, I bought this and the album after at the same time at Half Price Books. I just went in there. I always go into Half Price Books. I never even look at books. I just look at their used CDs and stuff. But I found this and the album after. I picked them up. I'm like, well, that's some kind of power metal. Okay, well, let's buy it. And I was blown away with this album. This, honestly, is one of the best 2000s power metal albums I think I own. I mean, it's one of my top favorites by far. It just does everything right. It's just basically, I mean, it really doesn't do anything super fresh or new. It's just really, really heavy power metal with a little bit of speed metal here and there. But I don't know. It's just so epic and so just, I don't know. It's just got a really, really extremely heavy vibe to it. I don't know. I can't explain. It's almost like the alternate version of like Gravedigger Rheingold, but only without a garbage disposal singing for the band, an actual clean vocalist. It's almost something like that, and it's also got, like the Norse mythology, Viking type lore and stuff like that. Very, very cool. I mean, does it get any more metal than that? And then on top of that, it's just every track is awesome. And I do mean awesome. I mean, this album runs at like 50 some minutes, like 51 minutes, something like that. And I like every bit of it. Every bit of it is awesome. So, the choruses are very, very epic. You just can't go wrong on here. And the album after is also good. It's not as good, but it's probably the next best thing. And I also bought a couple older Wizzard albums just on the hype of this album after getting it. And I'll be honest, their older stuff, so that I've heard, I had a couple albums and they're good, but I just kind of felt like they were kind of generic. I mean, good musicianship and everything, but just not nowhere. This is just like perfect. It doesn't, for a power metal album in the 2000s, it really doesn't get a whole lot better than Wizard's Thor. So yeah, definitely check that out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And there's that. Next, we got... This is kind of a weird one. I might have to explain the actual packaging here as much as the actual music. But Y&T and the album we're actually talking about is, if you can see it, very, very tiny. It's kind of why I hate little box sets like this. But we're talking about the album Earthshaker. I almost said Earthquake. So Earthquake by Y&T came out in 81. It's a 3.61 on Rate Your Music because it's not listed on Metal Archives because they don't consider it metal. I mean, it is kind of a hard rock metal mixture, but I consider it metal enough. And technically, Earthshaker is their third album, but it's the first one on this little box set thing, and I guess it's the first album that's considered just Y&T and not Yesterday and Today, which is actually what Y&T stands for. But the album is actually really, really good. Just typical 80s hard rock, heavy metal. It's, it's hard and heavy. It's everything we like. The songs are memorable. Really, there ain't a whole lot to say about it. It's it's just really, really good 80s metal. But the thing that I really, really need to talk about, though, for the most part, is this release. Because I seen this, I was like, I don't have any Y&T. I want to get some Y&T. So I bought this, and it was like $20, and you get 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 7 albums. Well, 6 albums and like a live album. Okay, so yeah, something like that. It's kind of confusing how this is packaging, and that's kind of the problem with this. Okay, it's the packaging is kind of weird, and there's one other problem. So I don't know how many discs are actually in here, but there's like, okay, there's 4 discs. Okay, now do the math here. 4 discs, like 7 albums. Okay, what do you think's going to happen? Some of them get split up. Okay, that is the biggest problem with this. Is so much of this is just split up. So Earthshaker fits on 1 disc, obviously. Then you got the second album, Black Tiger, and it surprisingly fits, so that's good. And then we got disc 2, Mean Streak. Okay, it fits. And Rock We Trust. Here we go. You only got about 80% of the album, and then it continues on to disc 3. So it has to continue over because it doesn't fit. Well, that's stupid. And also, okay, so disc 3, it continues with Open Fire. Then it goes Down for the Count. Oh, what do you know? It only has about half of the album on there. And then has to continue on to disc 4. And this is just stupid, okay? I've gotten these cheap box sets that don't even have the jewel cases or anything. It's just like little flat cardboard things. And I actually don't mind them because they all fit in a box. I would have rather had every album separate in that than this split up stuff, okay? Like, that's just, it's confusing. Even when you rip it onto, like, iTunes or whatever, or Apple Music, you can't divide it up the way you want to. There might be a way, I just don't know how you do it. But, so you almost have to make playlists out of it and remove it kind of from your library. It's just, it's dumb. I don't like the way this is done at all. I mean, it was only $20, so it's good bang for your buck. It's just, I hate the way it's done. And, some of these cases, I mean, a lot of them arrived broken. Mine did not. Mine actually arrived really, really intact. I got lucky. But if these do break, what the heck do? You got to go find some special case online. But, and another thing that really sucks about this, I can't remember what album it was. Maybe in Rock We Trust. I can't remember. Or maybe it was Mean Streak. So I hear like a little bit of popping going on. Now my car that I listen to this in is it's really high in the upper mids. So like certain sounds are very pronounced. So if there's popping in something, you'll really hear it in this car. But I hear popping. And I'm pretty sure this shouldn't be a vinyl rip, so I don't know where that's coming from. But I can tell you it's really annoying. And when I read the reviews for this, nobody mentions it. I hear it. I absolutely hear it. The original version, I looked it up on YouTube, does not have it. So that's irritating. So, okay, this is worth the money, but it's probably not going to be your be-all, end-all. You might have to buy a couple other albums based on what annoys you and what doesn't. So there's that. But anyway, the albums themselves are really good. I like Y&T. And Earthshaker is a great album, which is really what this is about. It's solid, pretty much from beginning to end. So check it out. Potentially check this out. It's cheaper than getting all the albums separate, but there goes my rant. Okay. But anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe. Don't really know what else to say. If I had to pick a favorite out of these, boy, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Well, it's not going to be Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls. We know that. Man, it'd be a toss-up between Thor by Wizard or Fire Down Under by Riot. What is considered a tie for now? Because I can't think about that. But anyway, till next time, stay metal.